It was not a good week for economic news in our state. Chevron announced it would close its molybdenum mine in Cuesta, putting 300 people out of jobs in the small town. And Intel Corporation's Rio Rancho plant was passed over once again for the company's next generation of investment. That's the third time this has happened. However, it's not clear if that truly augurs bad times ahead for Intel's shift into products not related to personal computers. But these are just some of the troubling stories about New Mexico's lagging economy. A report from the Pew Charitable Trust notes that New Mexico's tax revenue was down nearly 18% below its peak before the end of the year. Last year, federal cutbacks, job losses, particularly in the public sector, have cost the state revenue. And Dee Dee, you know, I think I know the answer to this. This has got to be the top issue going into this governor's race, right? It's got to be.
It's got to be. I mean, if it's not, there's something weird going on with the population, or whether all politicians are completely Teflon and bear no responsibility for any of this. This is really severe. We are not recovering. We are getting worse, and the Pew report is only one of the reports that says this. If you look at a map of the Southwest, we are losing jobs, we are losing population, we just do not seem to be gaining traction. I fear that Intel will be gone in 2 years.
Their lease is up in 2 years, I believe, or
I'm not sure whether it's the lease.
The project basis, I don't know about the financial part, but they only have projects available for the next 2 years.
Gotcha.
And so right now, Intel's in the process of trying to find a new mission. And our competition isn't Arizona or Oregon like we've seen before. You know, it's now Singapore and China. So when we start to take a look at international competition impacting New Mexico, that's very much alive and well, and manufacturing is at a crisis stage right now in the state.
But so is housing. Housing is not coming back. There was a small article in the Albuquerque Journal a couple weeks ago on another topic, which just happened to mention that the property values of homes are going down in the Albuquerque area. That's serious, and we don't seem to be doing anything successfully to address that problem.
The Intel bit, Martha, stay with that for a second before we move on to the mine. What interests me in the KOAT story saying Intel could survive a loss by Intel, or Rio Rancho, Intel, I'm sorry, my fault, would survive Intel's loss if it happened to happen.
They clearly don't live in Rio Rancho.
Right, I can tell, sorry. However, I don't think that's the point. Surviving. Aren't we sick of surviving here? Isn't it about thriving?
It should be about thriving. And back to Dee Dee's point, that needs to be the crux of this election. And if it isn't, I'm going to have to blame the candidates, because they need to hammer on that. We are last, I should say. We have the most poverty in the United States. We have a horrible graduation rate. And part of the Intel story is that they're going to owe the city of Rio Rancho $100,000, I believe, a year, because 60% of their new hires are not from the area. Why is that? We probably don't have the educated workforce they need. Now, whose fault is that? We have a big controversy over schools right now. So we're first in poverty, last in job creation. As Dee Dee said, this economy has got to be out front.
The Cuesta mine, when you think about, there were workers there coming from southern Colorado, driving in from all over the place. It's not just Cuesta that's going to feel this. Your sense of that story when you first heard about it, and the mayor up there saying we need to diversify our economy and start to think about tourism. There's got to be another way there, it seems.
Well, I think the Cuesta mine is kind of a microcosm of what could happen to Intel.
Yeah.
You know, you look at a small community that loses 300-400 jobs up there. I mean, that's not something you recover from tomorrow.
400, huge.
And Intel leaving Rio Rancho is not something Rio Rancho is going to recover from tomorrow. I think the bigger question about our economy in New Mexico is I think we are truly at a crossroads in this state. We have spent the last 50 years dependent on federal tax dollars to run the state of New Mexico. The federal government has said New Mexico's not high on our priority list for pumping that money into it. There are a few exceptions. You talk about the housing problems in Albuquerque. The exact is happening over in Clovis. I mean, in Clovis and Portales, where my son's now going to school at Eastern. You go over there, they are building like crazy over there because of the expansion of Cannon Air Force Base. But they're not doing those expansions at Kirtland. The federal government's not investing the money that it used to here. And for years we've been saying we've got to figure out a way to make our economy based more on private sector, less on government sector, and I think the chickens are coming home to roost. And I don't think there's going to be a fast fix for this. I do have a hope for Intel. The people that I talked to over the years have said that one of the things that's saving New Mexico is that it's the only plant that can still fix the majority and produce the majority of the chips, the only one that can produce the majority of chips that are in smartphones and other things, because they haven't stepped those phones up to the next generation.
Right.
So that's keeping us going at Intel. But we've lost thousands of jobs. You drive by Intel at any day, that parking lot is half full.
It's amazing the difference from a decade
And
ago.
$100,000 a year that Intel has to pay in a fine, that would be like asking Eugene to pay $100. As wealthy as you are, it would be nothing.
Please, please. Now, Tom, on that note, I'm so interested in where Senator Feldman started us off with. It's an election year, jobs has got to be it. But I'm curious, what can one actually put on the table, particularly about Cuesta? You cannot just grow another industry in a place like Cuesta just overnight.
No.
There's got to be some creative problem solving here. So.
Oh, there has to be creative problem solving. And it really comes down to, I think the candidates have an opportunity to share what their economic development plan is. To the point of, we talked a little bit about it on through Facebook, for example. The Moneyball kind of approach.
Right.
The goal of Moneyball, baseball strategy approach, is to get runners on base. It's not to go for the grand slams. It's not going to go for the triples. And so the only way you do that for small business is helping small business in New Mexico. How can you empower businesses that are already here to hire one more person? Right. And then you have the Tesla approaches, that you go for that huge, investment type plant, and maybe that comes, maybe it doesn't. But you don't build your whole strategy around the let's knock it out of the park kind of stuff. And we have to get beyond the call center. So I think that for the candidates to be successful in the economic development arena, just to increase the level of conversation, is let's start seeing, what is your strategy? How are you going to rebuild New Mexico's economy? How are you going to build the manufacturing sector? How are we going to take advantage of oil and gas, to grow that in the eastern part of the state and really maximize it a little bit more? What about the new rail center, down in, Santa Teresa? Right. How are we going to grow that and have it benefit the state? Sure. Right now, all the success is being regionalized, and as a result, you have Farmington, you have Albuquerque, you have northern New Mexico. They're all getting pounded because they don't have the kind of economic development that you have in the eastern and the southern parts of the state.
Tom raises a great point that for so long, when I was in the legislature, so long in New Mexico, we don't focus on how do we bring 10 jobs to 100 employers for 1,000 jobs to increase the bottom line. Everything is focused on how do we give P&M or Intel more money? How do we give this giant company that we're going to spend $10 million on, give them all kinds of tax breaks, bring them here, and the minute they're done getting the money, they leave. How do we look at companies? There's great opportunity places like Roswell with AAR, that's a publicly traded company, it's been there for 20 plus years. What are we doing to grow the opportunity for New Mexicans
I
to
think
go
you've
work?
asked the question of the campaign, and the governor has 4 years of track record of no growth to answer
If
for.
I was Mr. King, I'd roll out a new way to do economic development. I'd blow up the department.
Mr.
King,
literally blow up the department.
I think that would help.
That's right.
If I was Mr. King,
That's
I
right.
would figure out. I think he's spending most of his time figuring out how he's going to answer the Sam Bregman comments before.
Oh,
he get
I
anything
don't.
out.
I know that's going to go
Stop that now.
away.
We're going to move on now for the On the Clock segment. Surf over to the web, and coming up, we look at water issues here in rural New Mexico.